I've been playing Guild Wars 2 for 11 years, and a question I get asked all the time is, how do I make more gold? Don't worry friends, I've got you. Guild Wars 2 actually has an incredibly stable, well thought out economy. It just takes a little bit of knowledge to know how to take advantage of it to its fullest. Welcome back everyone. It's a very common problem in Guild Wars 2 for new players to struggle to make gold. This is because Guild Wars 2 functions a little differently than other MMOs when it comes to gold making. Other lesser games will simply flood your account with gold whenever you complete content, whereas Guild Wars 2 functions very differently. But worry not my friends, if you've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a little while, you are probably richer than you even realize. There is a very real chance that you are sitting on a veritable fortune and not even realizing it. So today we are going to delve into one of the key stores of wealth in Guild Wars 2, your material storage. First up, we'll touch on why the material storage is important. Rather than flooding your account with liquid gold every time you complete an event, Guild Wars 2 will typically reward you with materials, items, and currencies. This adds a few more steps to convert these into raw gold, but trust me, it is a good thing that this is the case. As has happened in many other MMOs in history, simply handing out liquid gold to players often results in hyperinflation. Now, hyperinflation is a catastrophic thing that can happen in any MMO economy. When inflation takes place, your gold becomes worth less and less, and your purchasing power, or the number of things that you can buy with your gold, becomes lower. Effectively, this makes the regular player poorer than when they started. An item that starts out at 50 silver becomes worth 5 gold the next week and 50 gold the next. And before you know it, you are having to start printing trillion-dollar bills in order to make sense of it all. Eventually, gold becomes effectively worthless and the entire game's economy stops functioning. This makes the game less approachable to new players and means returning players come back to all their hard-earned gold being effectively worthless. There's even a notorious example of this with the game Gaia Online. Here, the developers introduced gold generators, items that will create gold for you automatically each day as a means to very quickly increase revenue. The value of gold decreased, with items that were previously worth thousands of gold now costing billions. Old players simply saw their entire savings vanish. Whereas in Guild Wars 2, with the rewards being structured primarily around materials and currencies, we can step around this problem. By rewarding you with materials, you then have to go and list them on the trading post if you want to convert them to gold. And whenever you do this, you are going to incur a 5% listing fee whenever you list an item, and a 10% exchange fee when your item is eventually sold. This is one of the many ways that Guild Wars 2 rips gold out of the economy and counteracts the risk of hyperinflation taking place. In fact, Guild Wars 2 has one of the most stable in-game economies that I have ever seen. I've been playing Guild Wars 2 for 11 years now, and the gold that I have on my account is worth a similar amount to what it was worth shortly after the game's launch, at least compared to so many other games out there. And now to make the most gold with the items in your material storage. Now, this will sound very obvious for experienced players, but I run into this question all the time on my streams. Put it simply, sell what you don't need and keep what you do. You need to set aside the need to hoard every material you get in case you might need it later. Guild Wars 2 isn't set up for you to easily farm the specific materials that you need. Instead, you're going to want to sell what you don't need to other players in order to get gold. You will then use that gold to buy materials that you do need. And if you're worried about selling an item with the risk that you may need it later, I'm going to reassure you, do not worry about it. When the time comes around when you actually need that item again, there's a decent chance that you have farmed up multiple of what you need. And worst case, you can simply repeat the process and sell what you don't need and buy what you need again. Avoid the urge to hoard all of your materials. It is only going to make it take longer and longer for you to reach your goals. If you want to quickly see at a glance how much gold is in your material storage, I highly recommend linking your Guild Wars 2 account with Guild Wars 2 Efficiency. Here you can view exactly what is in your material storage at any point and see just how much they're going to sell for. Guild Wars 2 Efficiency is the single greatest website I can recommend if you're looking to increase your gold making in Guild Wars 2, so 100% recommend you do this. I've somewhat recently gone and purged my material storage to fund some extra legendaries, and here I'm still sitting on almost 900 gold worth of materials that I could liquidate right now if I needed. Now, beyond simply selling your materials directly to the trading post, there are ways where you can increase the gold you make from your material storage. Your next step is to use these materials to craft things that other players need and then sell them for a profit. There are so many different items you can craft, and the best ones change depending on what the economy is doing and what items are in demand. However, here are some of the key items that I've been doing recently and they've made me a significant chunk of gold. So much so, I've been able to fund 2 accounts just by doing this. For quartz crystals, you can convert 25 of these into a charged quartz crystal once a day. You can then use this to craft celestial weapons and armor, which sell for a very tidy sum on the trading post. You can also craft a piece of sky-scale food as well, which is a very consistent way to make some gold. I regularly use black diamonds that have dropped for me to craft Viper's weapons and armor, a very in-demand stat combination, has been for years and will be forevermore. Mithril, silk, and thick leather I use to craft ascended crafting materials, which I then turn into other useful things. One of these being tier 10 Jadebot cores. These use up a lot of materials as well as research notes. But aside from the research note crafting, this is a very easy, consistent way to make some extra gold. I also craft jeweled damask patches, as these can also use up a lot of the Heart of Thorns currencies that you may have piling up. Personally, I've been maxed out on these materials for years, so having a sink for them is incredibly valuable. I'll often craft Cryptus motivations as well, as these are used to juice the rewards that you get from farming your rifts, which makes these rifts even more profitable and speeds up your progress towards open world legendary armor. These are just a selection of the items that I craft, and these will change over time. So always try and be on the lookout for things that you can craft in order to turn a profit. As a general rule, if there is a useful item that has a few steps involved in its crafting, it's going to result in a much better profit than if you just sold the materials outright. Don't worry about trying to find something to craft for every item though, just focus on a handful at a time and then just sell the rest of the materials that you don't need. This is exactly what I do, and I have 56 legendaries to this account, and gold is never an issue. And that, my friends, is where a huge chunk of your gold is going to be tied up. It is going to be hidden from you in your material storage. To have the most fun with this game and push you towards your goals faster, you first need to figure out what you do need and what you don't. You can then see if there are any useful items you can craft for more profit. If not, simply sell your materials and use the gold to buy the things that you actually want. If you do this, you'll achieve your goals so much faster, and if you don't, you're going to find yourself always low on gold and make the game unnecessarily grindier for yourself. And while Guild Wars 2 typically rewards you with materials and not a lot of liquid gold, there are exceptions to this. One of them being Fractals of the Mist, one of the best gold generating activities in the game, and this game mode actually rewards you with items that you can sell directly to a vendor for huge amounts of liquid gold. And if you want to see why you should be doing fractals as part of your regular Guild Wars 2 activities, check out my previous video here where I delve into all the wonderful benefits that Fractals of the Mist can give you. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that I've been able to alleviate some of your gold making woes, and that you can bask in the unfathomable riches that are now being made available to you. But with that, we'll catch you all next time. Cheers.